And welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly minisode where we dig into the things that we've been watching recently. I'm Terry, and to quote It actor and one of my favorite TikTok creators, Nick Hamilton, I've got glasses on.
Sorry, that was just an yeah, everything about that was beautiful. I'm Mary. I'm Mary Beth. I don't have glasses on actually for the first time in a while, so that's fun.
Are we like reverse twinsies? Are we like, if you're not
Yeah,
wearing
we're
glasses,
like
I have
fraternal
to?
twins. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Like the anti Terry.
They're
/
never in the same room
Matt.
together.
We will be soon.
Oh my god.
We will be soon. Anyway, I'm Mary Beth. And this week we are talking the end of a 4-year journey, anxiety body horror, a screen life mystery, podcast the movie, a promise many years in the making, one pissed off 16-year-old, and finally, it's gonna be Scream. You can't write it like that and not expect me, a millennial, a self-respecting / self-hating millennial, to make that joke.
Okay, that's funny. I was actually going for like, it's gonna be a Scream, baby.
Oh.
But I love where you took it. That's better, honestly.
I went boy band route. Yeah, so I want to hear about this journey 4 years in the making.
Oh my goodness. As of today...
Or the end of a 4-year journey.
As of today, the drop of this episode, my time writing about Servant has come to an end.
Oh.
We've written over 200 pages. I know because I have a Google Doc.
That's wild.
40 episodes, 4 seasons, and a whole lot of words. And it's over, and it's really good. It has a really good ending, I think.
Good. Oh, I'm glad.
It doesn't... no spoilers, because a lot of people have not even seen this show, and I want people to see it.
Yeah, please.
But it does give us... It ties up everything I wanted it to tie up. It's not like Lost, where it's going to like exhaustively try to answer every little niggling question that people have had. But it does a really good job of bringing everything to an end. I cried. It made me very emotional. It's very good. If you haven't seen it, now is the time to get that damn trial and binge it, because they're 30-minute episodes. There's 40 of them, and it's so good. It is so good. So, Servant, I love it.
I'm so glad it ended a good way for you, because I know how much you've been ride or die. You and Joe have been ride or die for this show.
It's so good.
I'm so glad. Okay, I'm finally gonna watch it.
Please do.
I really want to. I
know.
I watched the first half of the first season and really liked it.
And I think it only gets better from that first season. And there's a couple found footage moments that I really want you to experience.
Yes, that's the big reason I want to watch it. But oh yay, I'm glad. Yeah. And also, it's M. Night Shyamalan, right? The whole thing is M. Night Shyamalan.
He produced it. He's directed a number of the episodes. His daughter, Ishana, got involved and has written and directed a few of the episodes. But it was created by Tony Basgallop, who has a new show also on Amazon called The Consultant, which Joe has seen and said it's really good. I have not seen it yet.
I've heard good things about it. I've seen like the ads for it.
Yeah, so that's his new show on Prime. But yeah, so it is definitely has an M. Night vibe to it for sure. And you can see his fingerprints all over it in terms of the directing. He uses a lot of similar cinematographers that he's used in his recent movies here. And so it has like a definite look of an M. Night film. And there's some really cool camera tricks that they pull off. But it is a series created by Tony Basgallop. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his last name, I believe.
Kate, it is Christoph Waltz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He is. Christoph Waltz is in The Consultant. Anyway, that show is it's so good. I hope people will find this and start talking about it, because the last 2 episodes, Lauren Ambrose has like fucking given us her Emmy moment. And the fact that this is a show that no one is watching, and so it's not going to get any Emmy like recognition, is really sad, because she is so good in this. And yes, Kate, I am so excited to see her on Yellow Jackets. Like, what a great move to go from this fantastic genre show to another genre show. I can't wait. I love her. I'm glad that she's having like this renaissance in television again. It also makes me really want to go back and watch 6 Feet Under, which is a show that I've only seen like a handful of the episodes. I want to I want to watch it. So.
If you want to cry,
I know.
It's so good. It's so good. Her character drives a hearse, like a repurposed hearse, and I've always wanted to drive a repurposed hearse. Like, it's so impractical, but like I do want a hearse as just like my personal car.
I'm down for that. I love that idea, to be honest.
I am who I am.
Okay, so anxiety body horror.
So I'm covering South by Southwest virtually, so I'm going to be talking about some of the movies I've seen that I've really liked, and I'll probably list off a couple more later that I won't go into as much detail about. But this first one is Appendage.
Oh, yeah.
This is directed by Anna Zlokovic. This is expanded from her short of the same name that actually starred Rachel Sennett. This is the feature expansion of the film.
Have you seen the short film?
I have, actually. I saw the short film at a festival at some point, and I really liked it. It was super weird, and I was super curious about it, and I really enjoyed it, and so I'm really excited that it got expanded into a feature. It's actually going to be on Hulu later this year, so this is going to be coming this year. I don't remember exactly when, but it is coming to Hulu. This premiered at South by Southwest, and it's follows a woman named Hannah. She's a young fashion designer. She works for a bigger fashion designer. She has a great boyfriend, a great best friend, but she also is dealing with a lot of anxiety and self-doubt. Her boss is evil. Her parents don't really give a shit about her, and she has a lot of anxiety, and she starts getting this weird rash on her side. You know, they're just telling her it's a rash, it's fine, like, she changed detergents, and then one day, a little freaky dude pops out of her side.
Oh, God.
Just a little freaky man.
Like a man? Like, just a man?
It's like a humanoid fleshy figure. It doesn't actually look like a person, but it talks.
Humanoid fleshy figure.
I know. And so it says things like, boo, bitch, and like yells at her. And it's really funny. And I was like, okay, is this going to just become like slapstick, like kind of like a fucked up, like a basket case scenario? But I was actually really impressed with how well it balanced the comedy with the horror. Like, you have this ridiculous shit-talking little gremlin, weird fleshy gremlin thing.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Like, the effects are awesome.
Oh, good.
And it could so easily veer into, like, a vulgar kind of situation. But they balance, like, because this little creature zaps power basically from Hannah, you know, like how anxiety drains you and stuff. Like, they capture that pretty well. And it's so ridiculous, and I think that's what I love about it, is that it leans into the ridiculous. And, like, there's some really insane twists that happen later that I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, Zlokovic is so kind of committed to the tone and, like, her vision as a director that, like, it's super cool to watch her just go for it. And the fact that she was able to just go for it, like, and then Emily Hampshire is actually in it. She plays, oh my God, what's her name in Schitt's Creek?
Fuck, if you hadn't asked me, I would have been able to tell you. Stevie.
I knew it was like more androgynous, but she played Stevie in Schitt's Creek, and now she's playing kind of like a villain in this, and she has like this really hot pixie cut, and she's giving off like chaos bisexual vibes. So she's the best part of the movie, and I don't mean that as a dig. Like, she just is really good as like, oh, it's great. So I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's one of my favorite representations of anxiety. Like, it's pretty on the nose, but I love how, like, it's not trying to be, like, subtle. It's trying to be ridiculous, because to me, anxiety, something I deal with every day, is so fucking ridiculous that, like, I love that she just went for it. So I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really good. And it's a really good kind of extension of the short. I think it definitely drags in a couple places, and the characters could be a little bit deeper, but like overall, it's a lot of fun. So make sure to catch that when it comes out on Hulu later this year.
I'm excited to see that one. You had mentioned offline to me a bit ago about it, and I've been wanting to see it ever since. So I'm glad that it's coming to Hulu. I'm really excited, and I love Emily.
Yeah, highly recommend when that comes out. Keep an eye out for it, because I just love it when like women directors get to do fucking weird shit.
Yeah,
like, it's just awesome. Just like make weird little dudes, little freaks. I love it. I even called him a weird little dude in my official review for Dread Central. So that is what I'm coining the appendage.
I love it.
Anyway, a screen life mystery.
I know. Me.
I every day I'm just so excited that I've converted you. You're going to a found footage festival with me.
I know.
You're watching found footage movies on your own and Screen Life. I love it so much.
Me too, actually. I watched Missing. Have you seen Missing?
Oh, no, not yet.
Yeah, I watched it because it finally it came out on VOD last week.
Oh,
it's like only to buy, but it's $15. It's sold.
The ticket, it's a movie theater ticket.
Yeah, and this is like, I mean, it's set in the same universe as Searching. It's like it happens after Searching, but it doesn't really have much to do with Searching, other than it's similar in that people are missing. That kind of thing. There's like a little bit of a wink and a nod to it, where there's like this docu-series on Netflix that they're watching at the beginning, and the episode that we see a little brief bit about is a recreation of Searching and what happens in that.
Cool.
Actually, not a docu-series. It's actually like, I think it's called Unfiction is the name of the show, and it's like it's like a dramatization of what happened, and so like they have a little bit of that as sort of like a connecting tissue to this, but this has nothing, no like story ties to that one. It is about a young teenager who played by Storm Reed, who we also just saw, if you're watching The Last of Us, she was Riley in The Last of Us.
Good for Storm Reed getting all these awesome fucking parts recently. She's incredible. And I haven't even seen Missing, but I know she's an incredible actor.
Well, and she carries this whole movie. Like, she is pretty much in every single frame of this film. And so she's a teenager. Her dad died years ago from cancer. Her mom has been seeing this new guy, and they are going on a trip to Colombia, parents, the mom and this new boyfriend. And she does what teenagers do and throws a party. Then she wakes up the day that she's supposed to go get her mom. She shows up at the airport waiting for her. Mom doesn't show up. She sends her messages, no response. So she is at home with the only money being in her Venmo account that her mom sent her. So she has a dwindling supply of money. Her mom is missing. No one seems to know where she's at. And so it follows her through her computer screen, just like in kind of Searching, trying to find out where her mom is. And what I love about this is that the filmmaking and the cinematography style and the editing on this is so good that it uses a lot of different cuts between what we're seeing either on her computer, or we're seeing like through phone footage, or like voice messages or FaceTime or surveillance cameras, or like even going through Google and getting into people's accounts on Google and going through all their data to try to find out where they last were located at. All this kind of stuff is happening, and it's very fast paced. It's very much it has a very stylized look to it that like just keeps you going. It is a very twisty film. I did not see where it was going at all, which is something that I'm usually able to suss out. And it surprised me around every time. Every time I think I was figuring out what was happening, the movie was like a few steps ahead of me, and then it would twist. And I think I actually like this one a lot better than Searching. I thought Searching was really good, but I think this one's more exciting to watch. And Storm Reed is just really good in it. So I really recommend this one. I had a blast with it. It doesn't even feel like a 2-hour movie.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow, 2 hours.
Yeah. Hour and 51 or something like that. But yeah, really good.
Okay.
So
I need to watch it.
You gotta watch it, Mary Beth. I've seen it. Come on now.
Look. I watch so many movies. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I have to watch Vanderpump Rules too. Come on, Terry. I have to catch up.
Yeah. The Red Wedding. I just love that Polygon keeps calling it the Red Wedding in there.
I love it too.
Anyway. Podcast the movie. I am curious and a little anxious.
So I actually just watched this one today, and I was really fucking impressed by it. It's called Monolith.
Okay. Not even heard of it.
And so this is an Australian movie directed by Matt Vesely.
Is this a South by movie?
Yes, this is a South by movie. All the movies I'm talking about today, except for the last one, are South by movies. So this is going to be at a couple other festivals coming up, I believe. But basically, this follows a woman who's a young journalist who basically made a huge fuck up the story didn't corroborate evidence, made some accusations against someone, and they weren't true, and she had to issue this big apology. And so her attempt at a comeback is creating a podcast, which is all about hoaxes, etc. And she gets a mysterious email one day about sending her a name, a phone number. It says Flora May, last name starts with a K, and then a phone number. And she's like, what the fuck is this? Like, and she decides to go down the rabbit hole. And what goes down that rabbit hole is a ridiculously wild alien conspiracy. And the whole thing is told, she's the only, so Lily Sullivan, who is actually in Evil Dead Rise, plays she is the only person, like, in camera, like on camera the entire time. She is the only person. We see everything from her point of view, and all of the, like, she's interviewing people over the phone.
Okay.
And recording them. So we're learning about, like, how deep this conspiracy goes just through listening.
Oh.
So a lot of it feels like an audio drama.
Okay.
But I actually really enjoy how that plays with audio, the audio medium. I think that there's some really interesting stuff playing with audio in horror right now, and this kind of, I wish it did more with playing with audio, but still it does a lot of, like, playing with the concept of listening and, like, storytelling, and also, like, playing with this idea of, like, how far do you buy into a conspiracy, and, like, what happens when you buy into something and, like, you publish it and make something widely listenable to, like, widely out there. I really liked it. It's like an hour and 30 minutes. It's like a chamber. I don't know if chamber piece is the wrong word, because it's really just her in a single location, like, feeding her turtle and learning all about these weird, mysterious black bricks that people have been delivered throughout the world. And I really enjoyed it. I was excited to watch it because I'm super interested in, like, podcaster horror for obvious reasons, and mostly I'm just curious too about, like, how filmmakers are looking at podcasters, because we see so many kind of, like, annoying movies about influencers who are, like, yelling and they're, like, teenagers, and, like, that's on what, like, that is, like, part of it, but seeing a kind of a little bit more serious, like, grounded might not be the right word for it, grounded-ish story about podcasting and, like, audio storytelling, like, kind of think Vast of Night-ish.
Okay. Huh.
Vast of Night is way more stylish.
Yeah.
And, like, way more, but, like, kind of the similar vibes of, like, listening to people telling stories and, like, gathering, and, like, you're not being shown, you're being told, and you have to kind of decide who you trust. Like, you as the viewer are kind of in the position of this journalist of, like, what is the truth? Are they telling the truth? Like, do you buy into it with her? And it's a really interesting kind of, like, because you're only with her the whole movie. Like, you're not seeing other people. So you're kind of forced to sit with her and decide, like, is this real?
So my question to you would be, does it work as a visual medium? Or, because, like, yeah, I mean, you know, my first question would be with that, would it have worked as just an audio drama? But so does the visual side of it work for you? I mean, because I know, like, that's, like, a loaded question, because, as you said, you're pretty much just seeing her the entire time, but
I think because Lily Sullivan is so good, I think you have to have a good person performing. I think because Lily Sullivan is incredible with, like, her performance, with her facial expressions and the way that she plays the character.
Okay.
I do think that it could have been a little bit more, like, engaging on the visual level. Like, I definitely think that they didn't play with that enough for the whole film.
Right.
There are some parts at the end where it's like, okay, yes, I'm glad that this is visual. I definitely think it could have done more of that.
Okay.
I think because, like I said, because Lily Sullivan is so good in it, it's worth it. But I definitely think that they could have gone, and it's like a shoestring budget indie movie.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. But, you know, there's a little bit more they probably could have done. But still, I still really enjoyed it. I was still pretty engaged because the story is wild.
I'm fascinated.
So.
I would definitely want to check this one out.
And then, like, super side note, another movie I actually watched about podcasters is a documentary called Citizen Sleuth that is actually really good, about a true crime podcaster who lied on her podcast. And it's this documentary filmmaker follows her for years before he knows she's lying. And it's about him, like, trying to get her to reveal that, because he had a feeling that she wasn't telling the full truth about her podcast.
Oh.
And like some of the circumstances.
Like
and
real?
he, after years, gets her to admit, yeah, it's like it's a full documentary. It's really good. It's fucking wild.
Is this also South by?
It does a lot of like the ethics of true crime podcasting and like
a big
what happens
big
when
question
you want
right
more
now.
download. Yeah, like what happens when you want more downloads, like all this shit. It's really interesting. So that's a documentary. So I wanted to throw that in there.
Hell yeah.
But then, okay, so now we have a promise many years in the making.
Maybe not many years, I guess, but I when back in September when we were culling like clips and stuff for our show, and I came across one, I think multiple episodes. I mentioned, okay, I haven't seen it, but I'm going to. I finally watched Ginger Snaps. And I'm not going to get too much into it because there's a reason that I watched it. So we're just going to throw that to the side for right now. But I finally watched Ginger Snaps and I loved it. I thought it was really good. It's not what I was expecting at all. And I don't want to get too much into it. I just wanted to let people know that I have finally seen Ginger Snaps. I have finally seen this movie. I really enjoyed it. Yay werewolves, yay teen angst, yay John Fawcett, the director. I'm here for it. I really would like to get John Fawcett on the podcast. So let's make that happen, please and thank you.
Okay. Manifesting
it. Because John Fawcett would go on to do Orphan Black, which is one of my favorite TV shows. So I'm very excited. It was really good. And you might hear more from me on it later, to be determined.
Well, really quick, what were you expecting from it?
I don't really know, but first of all, I guess I didn't realize that they were sisters. And I thought like there was like
okay.
I thought there would be like shades of queerness in that aspect of it, which you might be able to make a.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, they're sisters.
So like I honestly don't know what I was expecting other than I knew it was a werewolf film and that it one of the girls is going through puberty as it's happening, and so that is literally all I was expecting, and it is that, but there's a whole lot more to it, and I really enjoyed it. But I just wanted to like close that loop because I believe it was brought up with Molly, and I believe that it was brought up with when we talked about the shunting and society, because I'm pretty sure that the promise that I was made before like my birthday was that either I would pull up like my 40th birthday, I even think so, like 2 years ago was I'd either have a birthday shunting or I'd watch Ginger Snaps, and none of those happened, spoiler alert. But now I have seen Ginger Snaps, so I can not have the shunting happen. It's win-win in my opinion. 2 years late, but hey, I got there.
You got there. You still watched it.
I did, and I really enjoyed it. But speaking of angst and teens, what is this one pissed off 16-year-old? That was a good segue.
That was a great segue. This is the Wrath of Becky.
Oh yeah.
The sequel to Becky. It's fun. This time, instead of her parents getting murdered, but like people getting murdered in the woods by neo-Nazis, now she's kind of out to get revenge, sort of, and is just kicking ass and killing noblemen, not proud boys. They kind of changed the wording a little bit to make it a little less on the nose. But Lulu Wilson is back. She is now 16, and she is killing Nazis who are planning an insurrection. And Sean William Scott plays the big bad. He's actually pretty incredible as the bad guy. He's really, I know we all know him as Funny Man, but he's actually very good as a bad guy and as a villain. So that was really fun to watch. It's fun. Like, it's Wrath of Becky. It's watching a 16-year-old, really gory. Yeah. And I wish there was more gore, because a lot of it is kind of like backloaded to the end of the movie, which is fine. I just, I think I was just assuming with like, everyone having seen Becky and knowing how violent it was, it kind of
would amp
it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's new directors, Matt Angel and Suzanne Coote. So I think they were trying to kind of carve out their own, like, story to tell here. I did want a little bit more gore, but it's got good gore in it. And you're watching bad dudes get absolutely annihilated, which is awesome.
Here for that.
So, yeah, I liked it a lot. I think Lulu Wilson's a fucking badass. Sean William Scott's funny, and terrifying. So, and then one last title I wanted to shout out very, very briefly. Brooklyn 45, Ted Keegan's new movie.
Yeah, you saw it?
Very fun.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Good. It's really good. It's really good. It's a chamber. It's like textbook chamber piece, but like a lot of really interesting kind of twists and turns to it. So I really enjoy it.
Because that one's about people that have gotten together. They're in a war together. They're veterans. Is that?
So they were all in World War II together.
Okay.
And they're getting together, and they're all best friends who were in the war. And then one of them, his wife passed away, and they hold a seance to get in contact with her, and it all kind of goes downhill from there.
Okay.
And there's some really interesting ways that Keegan plays with, like, expectations and what the movie is going to be. And, yeah, someone on Twitter, actually Ted tweeted this, someone was complaining that it was like 12 Angry Men with a ghost thrown in for good measure. And Ted was like, no, that's exactly what it is. And that is what it is. And I like that. There's a lot of really good, like Larry Fessenden is in it.
That doesn't sound like a dig. You know?
I know, right? Like, I was like,
give me that.
That's a good thing. The acting is incredible. Really good tension. And I think it's really impressive. So.
Hell yeah.
And I loved We Are Still Here. So it's very different from that in terms of just, like, the entire aesthetic. But, like, he's a good director.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that.
But to end this on a fun note, it's gonna be Scream.
It's gonna be Scream.
We both saw Scream 6. We will not spoil anything
no spoilers.
or talk too much. I think when it comes, we might do a spoiler cast in the future, but do not worry. This is a spoiler-free zone for talking about Scream 6. Yeah, so just saying that now so no one is like, oh my god, they're going to spoil everything.
Yep, no, not going to talk about many or any of the details, I think, really. I just wanted to, like...
Yeah.
Because I know you saw it before... it came out. I went to go see it this weekend. It snowed on Saturday, but luckily it wasn't on a lot. But I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because
I saw your tweet. You were like, you can't keep me from seeing this movie. Are you fucking serious?
Because last year, when the Scream 5 came out in January on my birthday, it was fucking a blizzard. And we managed to get through the blizzard to go see it.
That's the point right.
That, like, I ended up, like, 2 days before the movie, I was like, it's gonna dump. Cassie, will you go see it with me tonight so that I can know that I'm going to see it and then we can see it again for my birthday? Because I didn't want to miss it. And then what happens on Saturday? It fucking snows. Thank God that it didn't snow a lot. And it was gone by the time we went to go see the movie. But I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? It's fucking March. Come on, people. But yeah.
Yep.
Scream. I really liked it.
I also really liked it. I was really impressed. I think I had a lot. I mean, like, we all did. We were all like, so, like, we're totally, like, we're in New York, which is, I thought was awesome. Some people are bitching about that, but, like, basically what I'm going to say in a nutshell is that it very much feels like Scream 2.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, a lot of it it very much is Scream 2. And also not at the same time. But, like, it is. A lot of the stuff in it. And Kate, I agree. I think it is a smart decision. I think, like, they do enough that it doesn't feel like, what is this? Like, you're just aping Scream 2. Like, there's no Cassandra, unfortunately, but also someone who was bitching on Twitter about the Cassandra scene in Scream 2, because I would like to have several words with them, because the Cassandra stuff in Scream 2 is really fucking cool, even though we laughed and bitched about how no theater department in a college has that much money. Regardless of that, it's a good scene.
It's a good scene, inclusion. And it's thematically important to the story that was being told. That was, as I put on Twitter, that a lot of people really liked. Yes. It is a Greek tragedy about PTSD. It needed to have Cassandra. Yes. That was, that play made the movie, in my opinion.
It did. Anyway, sorry. Circling back.
I will say, with the New York thing, the one thing I wish is that it was a little bit more New York. Like, I realized they didn't film it in New York. I realized all of that, but it felt like nameless big city.
I think I just was excited it was in a big city.
Me too.
I think I didn't really care that it was in New York. I think to me, I was like, well, who cares? Like, if it was any city, it'd be cool. Mm-hmm. And like you said, like the subway scenes were awesome. Oh. We saw them like in the trailer. We won't obviously spoil, but like you saw them in the trailer. The subway scene's really good. Like that was really tense. And so I wish they had a couple more things like that felt like you said. But the bodega scene that we again see in the trailer was I really liked that. Like that was incredible. Like the tension in this movie really just like doesn't stop, and it's good. Like the kills are incredible, and they're disgusting.
There's some great set pieces.
Great set pieces.
Not to like keep comparing it to Scream 2, but I think one thing Scream 2 does incredibly well is have some incredibly intense set pieces that are extended, and this one has those moments. It has an iconic moment. I'm not going to spoil, but it has an iconic moment that just feels very much New York in that feel, like buildings close to each other. Just a great intense moment. There's a lot of those in this, and I really enjoyed that.
I think they did some interesting stuff with like the PTSD or trauma stuff. I wish they'd done a little bit more, but I also think Sam Carpenter is a more realized character in this one. Melissa Barrera, I think, really comes into her own in this one. I think they took a lot of the notes people had about Sam's character in the first one and like really like did a good job writing her, to the point that I think maybe Melissa Barrera just was trying to do the best with what script she had in the first in Scream 5, because I've seen her in other stuff and she's not bad, I think. But regardless, in this one, like she really is a fucking badass. Like she really is a bad bitch, and I loved her a lot.
Before we went to go see this one, I did rewatch 5 Cream, and I maybe this is a hot take. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the worst part of Scream 5 were the legacy characters. So I was kind of happy that we focused on the core 4, as they name each other. And they created,
and they're so good. Yeah. I love the core 4.
They've created a really good friend group here that I was really happy to see. And when violence happens against them, just like in the original group of Scream characters, you feel it, because I really fell in love with them in this movie.
Also, like, can we just take a moment to celebrate that in this legacy, like this huge franchise, our 4 main characters are all people of color, almost all are femme, and there's at least one queer person in the group. Like, it's queer, femmes, and people of color.
It's woke.
All of them.
You got wokeness in my Scream.
Cool. Like, it doesn't even, like, factor into anything. It's just cool.
It is. Like, no, it's great.
It's just like, hey, look, like, it's not that hard to have characters that are, like, people of color, and it's not going to be about race. It's just them and slashers and like surviving slashers. Jasmine Savoy Brown, I love you so much. Their strong femme lead shirt and the lavender menace shirt, just like, I love how unabashedly queer the character is, Mindy's character. It's just so good. And Mason Gooding is so cute and so sweet and is the perfect himbo. And I love him. And Jenna Ortega is, of course, perfect. And I just love them all so much, and I might even like them more than the original legacy characters, because they're actually, well, look, I love Sydney and I love Dewey, but I think that them as a group makes more sense. I think there's so much more love in that group, and I think that I really love that, because I feel like, I mean, again, that's their own thing. I love this group so much, and like how much care they have for each other, and I love it.
Me too. 2 acting notes. One, it was very weird seeing Jack Champion in this, because he was Spider in Avatar, The Way of the Water. And that movie was filmed over the course of many years. And so seeing him in that movie go from like a very preteen kid to like a teenager was a weird transition, and then to see him in this, I was like, this is giving me so much whiplash, He does look like Evan Peters, Kate.
He does.
You're right.
I thought
particularly in
he
this.
was Evan Peters a couple times. I was like...
And then the other thing, I love that Josh Segarra is in this. He is such a cutie patootie.
He is.
I wanted more of him, but like he was really good. And when I first, like, I guess I've seen him in a couple of things, but when I first realized it was him, he was in The Other Two, which is this really funny TV show that's on HBO Max right now.
What's it called? The Other Two?
The Other Two. And it's he plays like this kind of himbo ex-boyfriend of one of the characters, and he's just so adorable in that, and he was so adorable in this. I loved him. I wanted more of him.
Also, the main character in The Beach House plays Quinn, which is one of like the new side characters, which I was like, I know who this is. Her name is Liana Liberato, and yes, you wrote that in the chat. Kate, I'm sorry, I'm just now connecting the dots. That is what you wrote. But it was really cool. It's just because she's so good in The Beach House, and it was like, wait, this person looks really familiar. I was like, oh my god, I love that she's in fucking Screen, because I loved her in The Beach House. So it was cool.
So I think to kind of tie into what Mary Beth was saying, I think we're going to do Patreon only spoiler cast on this, sort of like what we did with Barbarian, where we can talk about it, because there are things I definitely want to dig into, and some of the things that, like, I think some of the more interesting and some of the more things that kind of I didn't like are spoiler related. And so I think we'll probably save that for when it comes out on VOD, DVD, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's good. 2 thumbs up.
There's only been one bad
really
Scream movie. And that's number 3.
Radio Silence is really coming into it, though. They are great. They are an incredible filmmaking team, and I love to see it. So
me too.
But next week, y'all, for Little Cuts, we are going to be taking a break because Terry and I are going to be in San Francisco for the Unnamed Footage Festival.
Yep, so sorry we're not going to have a Little Cuts next week. Kind of need a break, and we're going to be traveling, and it's just going to be a whole lot. So you will not get a Little Cuts, but you will get a full episode on Monday. And who are we chatting with, Mary Beth?
So on Monday, we are chatting with author Nathan Ballingrud. He's the writer of short story collections like Wounds and North American Lake Monsters. His debut novel, The Strange, comes out Tuesday, the day after our discussion with him. And he brought with him Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
First watch for this boy.
I know. So this was a dream conversation for me. You guys have heard me talk about Nathan Ballingrud like a bunch on the podcast, and so I got to nerd out, and he is just super cool, and we had a really awesome conversation about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, a movie that I'm just very excited to be able to revisit and that you got to watch for the first time.
Yeah, it was I think our interview portion of this is one of the better interviews we've ever had. It was just really good.
He's really got some really interesting stories. Like, he used to work on oil rigs as a chef. So like,
it was good.
It's just really cool when you meet people you really like, their work you really respect and enjoy, and they're really awesome and kind and generous with their time. Like, they don't need to be that way, but when they are, it's just like very incredible. And we get to do that a lot with this podcast, and it's just like something I'm pretty thankful for that I don't think I appreciate enough, that we get to have these really deep, insightful conversations with people who are like really smart and really talented.
Yeah, one little behind the scenes little nugget. When he came on, he was surprised because I guess he thought, or maybe I think there was a mix up, and he thought that this was going to be a 30-minute recording. He's like, is that going to be enough time? He's like, oh, no, we were planning on like an hour or so. He's like, okay, good, because I didn't think there was going to be enough time for that. I was like, is that okay? And he's like, yeah. You got me all night. I'm like, okay, good. So it's just so sweet, so down to earth. And so, I don't know, he's just great. I loved him. It's nice when you get to talk to people and that you admire and you've looked up to, and they end up being a sweetheart. So this is a good one.
Nope, not gonna burp. Okay, anyway. So listeners, you've heard from us, but we want to hear from you. Did you watch a film that we watched this week and have thoughts? Ooh, excuse me. Do you have suggestions for things we should be watching, or guests that you might want to come on to Little Cuts again? You can send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us directly on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, subscribe, help support us through Patreon. You have a Fresh Wounds episode this month. You have new seltzer. You can be watching us with my my glasses on right now. And I think I'm not even gonna try to hint. We have some cool stuff coming up with Fresh Wounds.
I was like, what are you planning? What a surprise.
So yeah, help support us. It helps defray the cost of this because podcasting isn't cheap, y'all. So thank you.
And we're independent.
Yeah,
DIY,
we are.
baby. And to that end, thank you to Eric Power for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you to each and every one of you for listening. We so appreciate you. Please stay safe out there. But most importantly, stay creepy.
And if you are at Unnamed Footage Festival, say hi to us.
Please say hi.
I might have a sticker for
you.
you.
Be too awkward. I'll give you a hug if you want to be touched.
Same. But until next time.
Oh, won't somebody please